The lecture hall at the University of Washington buzzed with restless energy as students shuffled notes and whispered about weekend plans. It was autumn 2020, and Emma Carter, a 20-year-old graphic design major, sat near the back, doodling in her notebook. She wasn't one for economics lectures, but her advisor had insisted on the elective. Across the aisle, Ryan Mitchell, a computer science junior, typed furiously on his laptop, his focus unbreakable despite the professor's droning voice. Their worlds collided when a stray pen rolled under Ryan's chair. "Yours?" Ryan asked, holding up the pen with a half-smile. Emma nodded, caught off guard by his quiet confidence. That small exchange sparked a conversation after class, first about the lecture, then about their favorite coffee spots in Seattle. By the time they parted ways, Emma felt a flutter she couldn't explain, and Ryan had her number saved. Over the next few weeks, they became inseparable. Study sessions at the campus library stretched into late-night talks at a diner near Pike Place Market. Emma loved Ryan's ambition. He dreamed of building apps that could change lives, and he was already freelancing as a software developer to fund his projects. Ryan admired Emma's creativity, the way she saw beauty in chaos, sketching ideas for logos or murals on napkins. They balanced each other. His drive grounded her spontaneity, while her energy pulled him out of his workaholic shell. By their senior year, love had cemented their bond. They shared fears, Ryan's worry about failing his startup dreams, Emma's uncertainty about her career path, and dreams of a life together. One rainy evening in 2022, under the glow of streetlights in Fremont, Ryan proposed with a simple silver ring. Emma said yes before he finished speaking, tears mixing with the rain. Their friends cheered the news, posting photos of the couple captioned #relationship-goals. Even skeptics, who thought 22 was too young for marriage, couldn't deny their chemistry. The wedding was small but heartfelt, held at a community center overlooking Puget Sound in June 2023. Emma walked down the aisle to Ryan's favorite acoustic song, and he choked up reading his vows. They promised to support each other's dreams, no matter what. After a weekend honeymoon in Portland, they settled into a cozy apartment in Capitol Hill, ready to conquer the world together. Ryan dove into his career, landing a job at a tech startup while still freelancing. He worked long hours, coding late into the night to save for a house and secure their future. Emma, meanwhile, struggled to find her footing. Graphic design gigs were sporadic, and she spent more time curating her Instagram, where her vibrant posts about Seattle life earned her a modest following. She leaned into friendships, meeting pals for brunches or thrift store runs, while Ryan's schedule grew relentless. At first, their differences didn't matter. Ryan loved coming home to Emma's stories about her day, and she appreciated his quiet gestures, like leaving her coffee on the counter before heading to work. But by early 2024, cracks began to show. Ryan's startup launched a major project, demanding even more of his time. He'd return home exhausted, collapsing on the couch while Emma scrolled her phone, feeling the silence between them grow. She missed the spontaneous adventures of their college days, impromptu road trips to the Olympic Peninsula or dancing at local gigs. Now, their evenings were predictable. Takeout, Netflix, and Ryan's laptop glowing in the background. Emma didn't resent his work ethic. She knew he was building their future, but a restlessness stirred inside her. One night, while Ryan debugged code at the kitchen table, Emma stared at her Instagram feed. Posts of friends traveling to Bali or partying in LA filled her screen, each one a reminder of experiences she hadn't had. She loved Ryan, but a nagging thought crept in. Did I settle down too soon? She pushed it away, telling herself every couple hit rough patches. Yet the question lingered like a song stuck in her head. As Ryan typed away, unaware, Emma's thumb hovered over a new message from an old friend, Mia, whose glamorous life seemed to promise the excitement she craved. The stage was set for a choice that would change everything. Emma's phone buzzed on the kitchen counter, pulling her from another evening of scrolling Instagram. Ryan was at a startup's office, working late again on a project deadline. The message was from Mia Larson, a high school friend Emma hadn't spoken to in years. Mia's profile was a highlight reel of rooftop bars, tropical getaways, and VIP events in Los Angeles. Her latest story showed her sipping cocktails at a trendy club, captioned, "Living my best life." Emma tapped out a quick reply, congratulating Mia on her adventures. To her surprise, Mia responded instantly. Their chat flowed like they'd never lost touch, trading stories about high school pranks and old crushes. Mia bragged about her job in influencer marketing and her new boyfriend, Ethan, a music producer with a knack for charming everyone. Emma shared snippets of her life with Ryan, their cozy Seattle apartment, his tech career, but left out the growing restlessness gnawing at her. Mia invited her to a rooftop party in LA the next weekend, promising a night to remember. Emma hesitated. The trip was impulsive, expensive, and Ryan's schedule was packed. But the idea of breaking her routine lit a spark she couldn't ignore. "I'll think about it," Emma texted, already checking flight prices. She told Ryan she might visit a friend in California, framing it as a chance to reconnect. He nodded, distracted by a bug in his code, and encouraged her to go. "You deserve a break," he said, unaware of the temptation pulling her south. The LA party was everything Mia promised. Pulsing music, clinking glasses, and a skyline glittering under the stars. Emma felt alive, swept up in the energy of strangers who seemed to live without limits. Mia introduced her to Ethan, who greeted her with a warm handshake and a grin that lingered a beat too long. He was confident, quick-witted, and effortlessly charismatic, regaling the group with stories of studio sessions with rising artists. Emma found herself drawn to his carefree vibe, so different from Ryan's methodical focus. As the night wore on, Ethan and Emma ended up chatting alone by the rooftop's edge. He asked about her life in Seattle, listening intently as she admitted feeling stuck. "You're too vibrant to be caged in routine," he said, his words hitting a nerve. Their conversation danced around the line of flirtation. Light touches on her arm, shared laughs that felt too intimate. When Ethan asked for her number to stay in touch, she gave it without thinking, her heart racing with a mix of guilt and thrill. Back in Seattle, Emma's restlessness deepened. She and Ryan fell into a pattern. He worked late, she scrolled social media, and their conversations grew shorter. Ethan's text started as casual check-ins, but soon turned playful, laced with compliments that made Emma blush. "Missed you at the party vibe last night," he wrote, attaching a photo of another LA event. Emma replied, keeping it light, but craving the attention. She told herself it was harmless, just a distraction from her mundane days. Weeks later, Mia mentioned another event, this time in Seattle, a pop-up art gallery where Ethan would be networking. Emma agreed to join, lying to Ryan about a girls' night with local friends. At the gallery, Ethan's presence filled the room. He pulled Emma into his orbit, introducing her to artists and buying her drinks. Their chemistry was undeniable, and when he suggested grabbing late-night tacos at a food truck, she didn't resist. Alone in the glow of neon lights, their banter turned charged. Ethan leaned closer, his voice low. "You're not like anyone I've met," he said. Emma's breath caught, knowing she was teetering on a dangerous edge. The first betrayal was subtle, a lingering hug that lasted too long, a moment where neither pulled away. Back home, Emma deleted her text with Ethan, promising herself it wouldn't happen again. But the rush was addictive. They met again the next week under the guise of catching up. A coffee date turned into a walk through a quiet park, where Ethan's hand brushed hers, then held it. Emma's guilt screamed, but the thrill drowned it out. She told Ryan she'd joined a book club, an excuse for her frequent outings. Each meetup pushed Emma further from the life she'd built with Ryan. Ethan was a fantasy, no responsibilities, just excitement. She ignored the warning signs. Ethan's vague answers about his relationship with Mia, his disinterest in her deeper struggles. Meanwhile, Ryan sensed a shift. Emma was distracted, her phone always angled away, her stories about friends too rehearsed. He asked if she was okay, offering to cut back on work to spend time together. Emma brushed him off, saying she just needed space to figure things out. Ryan swallowed his unease, trusting her, but feeling the distance grow. By late 2024, Emma was living a double life. She'd sneak to Ethan's Airbnb when he visited Seattle, losing herself in stolen moments. The lies piled up, fake gym sessions, invented work events. She convinced herself Ryan was too busy to notice, that her secret was safe. But every choice tightened the noose around her marriage, and deep down, she knew the truth couldn't stay buried forever. Emma's double life consumed her by spring 2025. Her days revolved around stolen moments with Ethan, each meetup fueling her craving for excitement. Ryan, buried in his startup's latest app launch, barely noticed her absence at first. But the strain was evident. Emma's vague excuses, her phone glued to her hand, the way she flinched when he asked about her day. She claimed she was finding herself through new hobbies, but Ryan felt a growing unease he couldn't shake. One evening, while Emma was supposedly at a yoga class, Ryan logged into their shared bank account to pay bills. His stomach dropped as he scrolled through recent transactions. A boutique hotel charge in downtown Seattle, dinner in an upscale restaurant he'd never visited, a late-night rideshare to an unfamiliar address. The dates aligned with Emma's girls' nights. His mind raced. Maybe it was a mistake, a hacked account. But doubt gnawed at him. He cross-checked her calendar app, synced to his phone, and found gaps where her plans didn't add up. Ryan confronted Emma when she got home, keeping his voice calm. "Where were you last night? There's a hotel charge on our account." Emma froze, then deflected. "It was a spa day with friends. We split the bill weirdly. Why are you checking up on me?" Her tone was sharp, defensive. Ryan pressed, asking about the restaurant, but she doubled down, claiming it was a group outing. "I need space, Ryan. You're suffocating me with all these questions." The words stung, but Ryan backed off, not wanting to escalate. Inside, his trust began to fracture. Unable to ignore the red flags, Ryan made a choice he never imagined. He contacted a private investigator, a discreet professional recommended by a coworker. "Just tell me the truth," he told the PI, handing over Emma's recent schedules. The wait was agonizing. Ryan threw himself into work, coding through sleepless nights, but the dread lingered. He hated doubting Emma, the woman he'd vowed to build a life with. But her distance was undeniable. 2 weeks later, the PI delivered a thin envelope. Ryan opened it alone in his car, parked outside his office. The photos inside shattered him. Emma and Ethan at a coffee shop, laughing closely. Emma entering Ethan's Airbnb, her hand in his, a grainy shot of them embracing near a waterfront bar. The report detailed multiple meetups over months, all during times Emma claimed to be elsewhere. Ryan's chest tightened. He felt betrayed, humiliated, but also strangely clear-headed. Rage simmered, but he pushed it down. He wouldn't lash out. He'd act with purpose. Emma, oblivious, continued her affair. Ethan's visits to Seattle became more frequent, each one a high she chased. But cracks showed in her fantasy. Ethan dodged questions about his life in L.A., brushing off mentions of Mia. "Let's just enjoy the moment," he'd say, steering her back to flirtation. Emma ignored the unease, convincing herself this was the freedom she'd missed. She lied to Ryan effortlessly now. Fake work events, invented errands, believing her tracks were covered. Ryan, meanwhile, planned his next steps. He met with a divorce attorney, laying out the evidence. The lawyer advised a clean break. Washington's no-fault divorce laws meant he could end the marriage without airing the affair publicly. Ryan also reviewed their lease, confirming it was in his name. He began quietly moving his savings to a separate account, protecting his finances. Every action was deliberate, driven by a resolve to reclaim his life. The breaking point came one Friday night. Emma, claiming she was meeting a coworker for drinks, slipped out to meet Ethan at a bar in Belltown. Ryan, tipped off by the PI's latest report, drove to the same spot. He didn't go inside, just sat in his car, watching as Emma and Ethan emerged, arms linked, laughing. The sight cemented his decision. He drove home, packed a suitcase, and left a note on the counter. "I know. We're done. I'll be in touch." He checked into a hotel, his heart heavy but resolute. Emma returned home late, buzzing from her night, and found the note. Her world tilted. She called Ryan, but he didn't answer. Panicked, she texted, begging him to talk, claiming it was a misunderstanding. Ryan replied once, "Don't lie anymore. I have proof." Emma's guilt crashed over her, mixed with fear. She tried calling Ethan, but he didn't pick up. His interest was already waning, her drama a burden he didn't want. The next morning, Ryan's attorney emailed Emma divorce papers. The terms were straightforward. No alimony, no shared assets, and she needed to vacate the apartment by month's end. Emma stared at the screen, tears streaming. Her lies had unraveled, and the life she'd taken for granted was slipping away. Ryan, meanwhile, leaned on his work and close friends, channeling his pain into focus. The betrayal cut deep, but he vowed it wouldn't define him. That Emma's world crumbled in the days following Ryan's departure. The divorce papers sat unopened on her phone, a constant reminder of her unraveling life. She wandered the Capitol Hill apartment, now eerily quiet without Ryan's presence. His note, "I know, we're done," echoed in her mind. She tried calling him again, leaving voicemails that swung from desperate apologies to angry demands for a conversation. Ryan didn't respond. His silence was louder than any argument. In a panic, Emma reached out to Ethan, hoping his charm could numb the pain. She texted him, suggesting they meet, but his reply was curt, "Busy this week. I'll hit you up later." She stared at the message, realizing he'd never been more than a fleeting thrill. Desperate, she drove to the bar where they'd last met, hoping to find him. Instead, she saw him laughing with another woman, his arm around her waist. Emma left without a word, her fantasy of Ethan shattered. Back at the apartment, reality sank in. The lease, in Ryan's name, gave her until the end of June to move out. With no savings and sporadic freelance gigs, Emma had nowhere to go. She swallowed her pride and called her parents in Tacoma. Her mother, sensing her distress, offered her old room. Emma packed her belongings in a daze, each box a reminder of a life she'd thrown away. By mid-June, she was back in her childhood bedroom, surrounded by relics of a happier past. Ryan, meanwhile, threw himself into rebuilding. He moved into a small studio in Fremont, close to his startup's office. Work became his anchor. His team's app was gaining traction, and he earned a promotion to lead developer. He confided in a few close friends about the divorce, avoiding details of Emma's affair to keep things private. They rallied around him, inviting him to game nights and hikes, helping him rediscover small joys. At night, though, the betrayal stung. He questioned how he'd missed the signs, but resolve hardened him. He wouldn't let Emma's choices define his future. Emma's days in Tacoma dragged. She scrolled social media obsessively, wincing at posts of friends living vibrant lives. Ryan's Instagram, once filled with their shared moments, now showed him thriving, coding at a tech conference, hiking with coworkers in the Cascades. Each photo was a jab to her heart. She tried messaging him, pleading for a chance to explain, but he'd blocked her number. Her attempts to contact him through mutual friends were met with polite but firm rejections. Ryan was moving on. Desperate for distraction, Emma called Mia, hoping to rekindle their friendship. Mia was sympathetic but distant, her life too busy for Emma's drama. During their call, Emma learned Ethan had never been exclusive with Mia or anyone. "He's just like that," Mia said, unbothered. The revelation hit Emma hard. She'd risked everything for someone who saw her as disposable. Shame consumed her, but she couldn't face it. Instead, she numbed herself with mindless TV and endless scrolling, avoiding her parents' worried glances. The divorce proceedings moved swiftly. Emma, unable to afford a lawyer, signed the papers without contesting. The settlement was simple: no shared assets, no alimony. Ryan kept his savings and the car. Emma got nothing but her personal belongings. The finality of it broke her. She cried herself to sleep, haunted by memories of Ryan's kindness. How he'd made her coffee every morning, how he believed in her dreams. She'd traded that for a fleeting high with Ethan, and now she had nothing. Emma's low point came one evening while browsing LinkedIn. Ryan's profile updated with a new role, VP of Product at a startup. A tech blog praised his leadership, calling him a rising star in Seattle's tech scene. The same day, she saw a photo of him at a charity run, smiling alongside a woman tagged as Sarah, a product manager at his company. Their ease together twisted a knife. Emma spiraled, wondering if Sarah was replacing her. She drank too much wine that night, sobbing to her mother about her regrets. Her mom listened patiently, but urged her to take responsibility. "You can't undo the past, but you can choose what's next," she said. Emma wasn't ready to hear it. Ryan, meanwhile, found unexpected peace. Sarah, his co-worker, became a friend, sharing his love for tech and outdoor adventures. Their bond was platonic but grounding, a reminder that trust was still possible. He focused on his goals, a new app feature, a plan to buy a condo, reclaiming the ambition Emma's betrayal had shaken. He refused to gloat or seek revenge beyond the divorce. Letting Emma face her consequences was enough. By late June, Emma's life was stagnant. She hadn't looked for work, too paralyzed by shame. Her parents pushed her to get a job, but she deflected, trapped in a cycle of regret and avoidance. Ryan, on the other hand, was building momentum. His startup secured funding, and he celebrated with his team, feeling a spark of pride he hadn't in months. The contrast between their paths was stark, setting the stage for a reckoning Emma couldn't escape. Emma's life in Tacoma remained a shadow of what it once was. By July 2025, she was still living with her parents, her days blending into a haze of regret and inertia. The divorce was finalized, leaving her with nothing but a few boxes of belongings and a gnawing sense of failure. She avoided mirrors, not because of vanity, but because she couldn't face the person she'd become. Social media, once her escape, now tormented her. Friends' posts about careers and travels mocked her stagnation, and Ryan's thriving life cut deeper with every glimpse. One humid afternoon, Emma scrolled Instagram and froze. A photo showed Ryan at a Seattle tech gala, arm around Sarah, the product manager she'd seen before. The caption read, "Excited for our next chapter." A diamond ring on Sarah's finger glinted in the photo. Emma's chest tightened. She clicked through stories, finding more. Ryan and Sarah hiking, laughing at a farmer's market, toasting at a winery. Their joy was undeniable, a stark contrast to her emptiness. Driven by desperation, Emma unblocked an old burner account and called Ryan, her hands shaking. Ryan answered, his voice neutral. "Emma, what do you want?" She stumbled over her words, begging for a chance to talk, to apologize, to start over. "I was wrong, Ryan. I see it now. We can fix this." Silence stretched on the line. Ryan's response was calm but final. "You made your choices. I moved on. I wish you well, but don't contact me again." He hung up, leaving Emma sobbing into the void. The call was her last grasp at undoing the past, and it slipped away. The rejection broke something in Emma, but it also sparked a flicker of clarity. Her mother's words echoed. "Choose what's next." For the first time, Emma considered taking responsibility. She enrolled in a community college in Tacoma, signing up for graphic design courses to rebuild her skills. The process was humbling, sitting among younger students, relearning basics, but it gave her purpose. She got a part-time job at a local cafe, saving tips for her own place. Each step was small, but it was hers, a path toward redemption she hadn't dared imagine. Ryan, meanwhile, embraced his new chapter. His startup's app hit 1 million downloads, earning him a feature in a tech magazine. Sarah, now his fiancée, shared his vision and grounded him with her quiet strength. They planned a modest wedding for spring 2026, inviting close friends to a vineyard outside Seattle. Ryan didn't dwell on Emma's call. He'd forgiven her, not for her sake, but for his own peace. His life was no longer defined by betrayal, but by growth and love. Emma's progress wasn't linear. Some nights, she'd scroll Ryan's posts, tempted to spiral, but she'd force herself to close the app. Therapy, offered through her college, helped her unpack her choices. She admitted her affair wasn't about Ethan or freedom. It was about running from her own insecurities. Facing that truth was painful but freeing. She wrote Ryan a letter she never sent, apologizing without expecting forgiveness. It was for her a step toward letting go. By early 2026, Emma's life showed signs of renewal. She landed a freelance design gig for a local nonprofit, her first real project in years. Her parents noticed the change, her shoulders straighter, her eyes brighter. She moved into a tiny studio apartment, paid for with her cafe earnings. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Social media lost its grip. She posted less, lived more. A new friend from class invited her to a book club, and Emma found herself laughing again, rediscovering joy in small moments. Ryan's wedding day arrived in April 2026. Photos surfaced online. Him and Sarah exchanging vows under a canopy of cherry blossoms. Emma saw one post by accident, shared by a mutual friend. The pain was sharp but brief. She didn't call or text. Instead, she closed her laptop and went to her design class, sketching a logo that later won her a small award. Ryan's happiness no longer felt like her failure. It was his story, and she was writing her own. The story closed with both moving forward, their paths diverging but marked by lessons. Ryan's triumph was quiet, success in work, love, and self-respect. Emma's was harder won, rooted in accountability and grit. Her journey wasn't complete, but she'd taken the first steps. The moral was clear. Actions carry weight, but redemption lies in owning them. Mistakes don't define a life. Choices do.